All right, I have Ron Harnevo, the president of AOL Video. AOL is experimenting and leading with a lot of different advertising strategies, especially in video. Can you just give me a lay of the land of, where are we with video advertising? What's the scale? We talked about share shift a little bit. How much are we shifting from TV to digital? Is that even the right way to think about it?
It covers a lot. So I still think that in the video advertising industry, pre-rolls are the majority of what we do. It comes, I think, from two main reasons. A, the assets are ready because they were produced for TV. Sometimes people underappreciate how easy it is to shift the ad product between the screens because the assets are already there. So it's really helpful. And the second thing, I think it's really still the easiest way to get scale across the board. So I would say that pre-rolls are definitely by far the biggest way to buy video today. I think that even within that pre-roll environment, there is a huge shift for audience buying and a lot of audience buying with GRPs. So I think that we're seeing, going back to what Laurie said, at the end of the day, video would be video, and that we wouldn't have kind of the artificial division between television, online video, etc. And there needs to be a common currency. And I think that what the publishing community has done, we were kind of the first to do it, is just to adopt GRP. Mm-hmm. Not because it's the best currency, but it's the most practical way to start and create shift between TV and online. So pre-roll is definitely the biggest thing. Then we have branded entertainment and distribution around branded entertainment, which is a meaningful and sizable business. And all the rest, I would say, are, you have sponsorships, you have some overlays, but I think that the core of the video advertising industry right now is against branded entertainment and mainly pre-rolls.
And how do each perform? How does branded entertainment perform versus pre-roll?
So I think the interesting thing around branded entertainment is that it should perform much better, right? If it doesn't perform much better, then you're not supposed to do it, because it's most of the time the branded entertainment piece is being picked by the audience. So we're not pushing them an incentivized message before the real message. It's supposed to be the real message. And it's long form. I mean, when I say long, from an advertising perspective, it's, you can do a minute, you can do 2 minutes, etc. But so if you really are able to do branded entertainment right, then it has to be much more engaging and much more powerful than just spreading your word. And that's why, by the way, it has to be significantly more valuable to the advertiser, therefore more expensive, because it's much more difficult from a publishing perspective to take 6 or 7 assets that are 2 minutes, 3 minutes, throw them to the ocean of online video that produces millions of videos a day, and make them viewable.
But is that what you're seeing? What does the data tell you?
What we are doing, and I think we're not the only ones, you have Unruly and you have Share Through. We are doing it on a global basis. We did it with the last Van Damme video, if you've seen it, which was a global campaign initiated by Volvo. You got to push the content, and you got to push the content to the right places, and you got to push the content with some targeting against it, and you got to make the right people be aware that the content exists. So I think that the biggest problem with branded entertainment is discoverability, because if brands just put it on their sites, no one would figure out how to access it. And even in the past, and I'm still seeing it, there's like a big spend around production. People are creating really beautiful assets, and then you just put it on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and you wait for the miracle to happen based on some miracles that happened in the past. And that's difficult.
And so what's the metric that that brands should be using to measure success? Should it be the same metric as for paid pre-roll, or is it a different? Their goals are different. They're trying to get engagement. They're trying to get people talking about it.
So I really think that branded entertainment should be much more around engagement. Completion rates are more meaningful. Completion rates in pre-roll are pretty high a lot of times because the content was engaging, the content that people were waiting for. completion rate on branded entertainment really gives you an indication for the quality of the engagement. And then a lot of brands are now starting to produce more interesting stuff from an interactive perspective, not only from a content perspective, right? Can you optimize the content? Can you make it interactive? Can you create units around branded entertainment that people can really interact based on where they are, the time of the day? Right. So the messaging around branded entertainment is different, and I think that brands more and more are relying on us as publishers, because we produce a lot of content, to help them produce that stuff. So it's the production value, it's the technology value of the asset, like does it come with a creative technology with it, and then I would say it's the power of distribution.
Let's talk a little bit about interactive units. There have been a lot of experimentation with overlays. We had Innovid here earlier. It's still, I think, early days. What do you think needs to happen for interactive advertising on digital video to work?
It's a great question, because in one hand it works, like it just works, people are using it. On the other hand, it kind of go against the old screen, everything is equal, we're buying GRP, we want to buy on TV and on tablets. And so from that perspective, when the market is moving a lot of money into GRP, like if we're seeing, and we are seeing, a big shift from TV dollars into digital, then it's almost like an overcomplicated message for some of them when they are starting to make big moves, pushing a lot of money into campaigns, and then educating them that there's an interactive unit that you can put on a tablet only, or on is creating some confusion. And I think that I'm a big believer in interactive. It has to be full cross screens, hopefully into TV at some way.
Right.
And people have to interact with, like, we got to create easy matrices around the engagement and the power of these ad units, because a lot of times the tackling behind selling an interactive unit to a brand is complicated. And actually, I think that iView and Innovid and others are trying to really simplify it so that brand can understand that it's simple, they can buy it in scale against the metrics that they're used to. Because what we're seeing from advertisers is a wish to buy, and then a lot of times on the execution path, they're just going back to the old metrics that they know in scale.
Right.
And are just
I would think, though, that the way to win them over would be that you just show that the performance, you'd have to show that the performance is multiple of
100%, right? And a lot of them are buying. It doesn't increase the TRPs, right? It just increased the engagement. So it's two conversations that are starting right now, are trying to merge, and a lot of times it's difficult to merge them.
Right. All right. Let's finish with you started with talking about the key to branded video, branded advertising in video is not just to produce something that's engaging and that's compelling, but to distribute it in a way that it gets to the right audience. And so to what extent are you using techniques that AOL is learning from the editorial side to apply to the branded video side?
Yeah. So first of all, we're syndicating content. So the minute we're syndicating content, I think we have a lot of data behind specific demos and the specific screens that they're watching. So in order to syndicate branded entertainment, in a way it's not that different than syndicating content, only here you're being way more active. So what we're trying to do is to we're taking a bunch from advertising, from pre-roll, which is targeting. Like if you want to reach audiences in branded entertainment, you should use a lot of targeting abilities that you have on the ad side. And then on the content side, I would say it's mainly data and understanding of, prime time for each device, prime time for each demo. And also, I think that a lot of times we are trying to be very involved in the creative that is being sent to us. Because as a publisher, when you have a lot of data, you can tell that a video is not going to work. And then, again, with branded entertainment, at the right price, you can buy audience. You can get audience to watch the content. But if the content is not engaging, there's a failure path. And a lot of times brands are just going to their old creative teams that are creating content for TV, and they're creating the same thing for the web, and the medium is the message, and it's not the same.
Right.
Right? Like there's something about TV that is fake by definition, not in a bad way. Like it's a fake language, it's a fake discussion. If you move it into the internet, we can tell you as publishers that's not going to work. So that's something we're seeing a lot working with brands.
So are you seeing, you know, when you see branded video, what, you know, if you, I don't know what the metric is for engagement, but let's say it's completion rates or partial completion rates. Do you, on average, are you seeing branded video ever match, you know, sort of traditional editorial? Does it ever exceed? How does it perform versus a regular video? I guess?
It would match and exceed because usually the production budgets
are
into branded entertainment are higher, but it needs to speak the medium, right? It needs to, if people are just trying to take something they've created for TV 3 years ago, take it from the archive and syndicate it, which we're seeing a lot. It's not,
right.
Then it's not going to work. If it was made for the web, then I think that the web would absorb it and you will get
Doesn't that go against what you just said in the beginning? When I totally agree with what you say, but that, you know, a lot of the brands, they already have all these assets, they've created them.
That's
maybe
pre-rolls.
I know, for pre-rolls, right?
Yeah.
So for brand, but why isn't that true for pre-rolls as well?
So I'll try to touch it in short. I think that we are used to see commercials. So when something is a commercial, we are programmed from a very young age. We're seeing a commercial, and that's kind of that transfers from screens. It's a commercial, we were programmed, so it's another screen. By the way, 10-second commercials, 5-second commercials that were made for the web only can be better, but I don't think that that's a huge issue because you won't go right now to the whole industry, and it will take time for that. When it's content, then it's different because the brand becomes a publisher.
Right.
And if the brand becomes a publisher, the brand has bigger responsibility to be a storyteller. And if the brand doesn't know how to tell a story in this medium, it just won't work. So I think there's a big distinction between I'm trying right now to be a content creator, which is a much harder work than to tell a story in a medium that we are all so familiar with.
Right. Last sort of point here, I mean, it sort of takes you back to the early days of television when the brands and the sponsors were very much integrated in the you know, in the production. They were part of the story, right? And then television kind of, for a variety of reasons, those things got separated. Do you think that we're going to see a similar sort of, you know, separation as digital video matures, or is there something different about the medium that we're sort of on a new path?
I don't know, to begin with. If you look at the graphs of mobile video, I think that at the end of the day, we won't be able, I mean, the acceptance for pre-rolls and for advertising is going to decrease because we're going to see so much video that actually I think brand will have to become publishers. And in that respect, storytelling for a brand becomes a much more important skill, I think, than it used to be. And we're seeing that the people that really know how to do it, like we all talk about Aereo, but like they know how to do it. They got it. They understand the medium. And the minute they understand the medium, we all name drop them in so much. Like you got to be a storyteller, and I think that's a new skill that brands will have to replace us with.
Okay, well that's a great place to end it.
Thank you, Eric.